to make a presentation on the first item.
Thank you, Your Worship. First item is Bylaw number 4222-2011. It's an application to rezone the property located at 3445 Galloway Avenue.
Good evening, Your Worship and council members. This site is located on the north side of Galloway Avenue. The site is designated as large, single-family, environmentally sensitive area and school park under the official community plan. Zoning on the site into the east, south, and portion of the west is RS2 one-family suburban residential. Zoning to the west is also RTM1, street-oriented village, and P5 special park. The subject site currently has a single-family residence. The applicant is seeking to rezone the site to RS9 large single-family residential and P5 special park to facilitate development of approximately 26 single-family residential lots and streamside protection areas. Staff are recommending all final readings to bylaw number 4222. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I have no speakers on the list. Are there any speakers to this item? Second time, are there any speakers to this item? Third and final time, are there any speakers to this item? Seeing none, I declare this item closed. Ms. Lohr.
Thank you. Item 2, Bylaw number 4223-2011 is an application to rezone the property at 3465 Princeton Avenue.
Your Worship and members of Council, my name is Michael Dhaliwal, Development Planner with the City. This site is located in the Smiling Creek neighborhood, east of Dayton Street, between Highland Drive and Princeton Avenue, and west of Kingston Street. The site is designated conventional townhouse under the official community plan. The properties to the north and south are zoned RS2 one-family suburban residential, to the east A3 agricultural and resource, and to the west RT2 townhouse and RS2 one-family suburban residential. The subject site is currently vacant. The applicant is seeking to rezone the subject site to RT2 Townhouse Residential, P5 Special Park, and P1 Civic Institutional to accommodate the development of future townhouse units and to rezone the environmentally sensitive area and future park and middle school site to the corresponding zones in accordance with the Smiling Creek Neighborhood Plan. Staff are recommending second and third readings to Bylaw 4223-2011.
Thank you very much. We have one speaker registered.
The applicant has registered to speak, Mr. Raymond Nothstein of Westbuild Holdings.
Mr. Nothstein, welcome.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Raymond Nothstein with, who am I with? Westbuild Holdings, 666 Burrard. My presentation tonight is very short. The first item is we are following the neighborhood plan. I'd just like to be able to say that. The second item is that within the report to Council, it refers to the P5, the creek areas, as being held in private ownership associated with the townhouse site. This is certainly possible. Our take is that the city really is the best steward for these environmentally sensitive lands, and so I just want to be clear here at the public hearing that we will continue to work with staff to see if we can move those lands into city ownership rather than keep it with the townhouse site. We've also taken a corporate position on this now where all of our environmentally sensitive lands associated with creeks will be transferred to the city at no cost. I'm available if you have any questions.
And seeing no questions, I thank you very much, Mr. Nothstein. That was better. Very well. Are there any other speakers to this item? Second, please come forward. You may not have been up at the microphone before, but you'll have to give your name and address for the record.
Sandra Marsden, 3420 Highland Drive,
Sandra.
Burke Mountain. I just have a question, and I don't even know if you folks have gotten this far to give me an answer, but I'm hoping someone from staff might be able to. I believe we're zone 3 for the water coming out of our taps. and I believe this site, or part of this site, is Zone 4. And also across the street, west of Dayton on Highland Drive, I believe there's some townhomes scheduled to go in there. I would think shortly an application would be coming forward. And I'm just wondering what steps have been taken to service this site in particular, so that we, the neighbors, don't have water dripping out of our tap, but actually continuing to run out of our tap at a good pressure.
Through your worship, we're only seeking second and third readings at this point. Westfield is negotiating with staff on creating an interim water for this area in Zone 4, so fourth reading will not be sought until an agreement is reached to service these sites.
Okay. Now, the neighborhood plan gets developed, then rezoning gets happened, and then development permits will wait until we get the servicing in place.
That.
And there is still some challenges on the water side.
But the city will assure that we, the residents, will continue to have the same water pressure that we enjoy today after this site is built.
Yep, actually, you see the fellow with the uniform, the big burly fellow, he will make sure that we don't do anything that doesn't give us the access to water before we build this. Mr. McIntyre.
I have a fire hydrant right outside my door, so that's great. I'm assured to have water.
A little more in the trickle, and it'll be a good flow. Thank you, Your Worship. I was just going to make that point. It's there's two critical concerns, obviously, with a potable water system, community water system, is the flow to the residents and property owners in the area. But obviously, and equally important is ensuring sufficient fire flow and volumes for fire protection purposes. And our fire department works very closely with our staff and engineering staff to make sure those flows and pressures are there to provide proper fire protection. So it is a bit of a stage thing, and as Michael's pointed out, the final approval would not be ready until we have those assurances in place and we're ready to go ahead safely.
And just one comment to Raymond at Westfield. I certainly am enjoying that fountain at Lafarge Lake. Thanks.
At this point, Ray wants to claim credit for it, but it was really May's idea.
It was their money.
But it was their money, I agree. And thank you very much, Wes. Are there any other speakers to this item? Are there any other speakers to this item? Final time. Any other speakers to this item? Seeing none, I declare this item closed.
Item 3, Item 3, bylaw number 4224-2011 is an application to rezone the property at 3007 Glen Drive.
This site is located in the city center on the northwest corner of Glen Drive and Pine Tree Way, adjacent the Glen Pine Pavilion and the Altamont Residential Tower. The site is designated city center under the official community plan. The properties to the west and south are zoned C4 City Center Commercial, and the properties to the north are zoned RS1 One Family Residential, north and west. The subject site is currently vacant. The applicant is seeking to rezone the subject site to C4 City Center Commercial to accommodate the development of a 195-unit, 28-story residential tower.
I'm a bit concerned about the orientation of the site.
Yeah, I couldn't change it.
Seems to be leaning a bit to the left here.
Rotate view.
There you go.
The applicant is seeking to rezone the subject site to C4 City Center Commercial to accommodate the development of a 195-unit, 28-story residential tower with 5 at-grade commercial units and 3,021 square meters or 32,500 square feet of office space in accordance with the city center area plan. The building will be built to LEED silver equivalency. Staff are recommending second and third readings to bylaw 4224-2011.
Thank you. I have 4 speakers registered. Mujtaba Rahimi. Please come forward, Mr. Rahimi. at 2603, 2979 Glen Drive. Mr.
Yes.
Rahimi, go ahead.
Good evening, Council. My name is Mujtaba Rahimi. I live in 2603, 2979, which is Altamonte, exactly next to the new development. And I have a few questions. First of all is the little distance between our tower and the new development, which looks like really small. And I'm wondering if how they're going to develop this new development to protect our privacy, because I believe that all our windows will be just looking at each other. This is my first concern. The second one is the...
Why don't we get answers, one if you like. I can ask staff, Mr. Whose one is it? Mr. McIntyre, as to whether or not you can pass a cup of coffee across between these two buildings.
Thank you, Worship. And if I could, I would ask the file manager, Michael Galloway, to respond. There may be some questions that nearby residents have that we would not have the immediate answer in hand, but there is a representative here of the proponent tonight, and perhaps they can make note of that and respond if we cannot.
Okay. And I will explain that this is for the zoning of the site, for the type of building that would be there, not necessarily for the exact position on the site, but typically the applicant has made those determinations already, and we might be able to get an answer from them. Mr. Dhaliwal.
For your worship, the zoning bylaw minimum between towers is 25 meters. These two towers are spaced over 30 meters. An exact number can be given at a later date, but it's more than 30 meters and meets the zoning bylaw.
Yes. Okay, so it's more than 30 meters. Your next question.
Okay, the second one is a wall they're starting to develop. Of course, they have to start with piling, and because we have lots of towers are being built, and our building keep shaking. I don't know if how they can guarantee to no any damage to our, the base of our building while there is only 30 meters away.
Okay, Mr. McIntyre.
Yes, thank you, Your Worship. And actually, this is an issue we've been wrestling with for a while, and we've been fortunate, at least this summer, as the warmer months come by, we're not in a situation with these projects having the pile driving, but this going forward would. What we've been looking at with some of the contractors, as well as with we just retained a geotechnical engineer to give us advice on that, to see if there aren't some alternate, less intrusive, less noisy technologies for pile driving in this location. So we are looking into that, and we'll be hopefully reporting out to council on that in the next little while. It's something that's has been an issue in the city center. There may be other ways, other technologies that would be less bothersome than the hammer striking on the steel pile. So we are pursuing that, but I don't have an answer fully at this time.
Councillor Asmussen is the chair of the engineering committee, and they have been working on trying to deal with that issue, because it is certainly is an issue. It was an issue when your building was built, and it is an issue now for you when the next buildings are built. So. I know, but you're looking after the issue of noise and such. Yes.
Do I still have time for more questions?
Yes, go right ahead.
Okay, and the second one is they are planning to use the Glen Pine driveway for their parkings, and this one is still very narrow, even for only for our tower, and I don't know how they are planning to widen it, or how to, give us enough space for our cars to go and come back. 195 new condos are coming up.
Yeah, Mr. Dhaliwal.
Through your worship, the lane is built for two-way traffic. It's 25 feet, and access is provided off Pine Tree Way and from Glen Pine Court so the commercial units and office space can be accessed from Pine Tree Way, and the residential towers will be residential unit parking will be accessed through Glen Pine Court.
Is it going to be the same width?
It'll remain the same width, and it's wide enough for two-way traffic.
If it's going to be the same width, even now we have problem with just Altamonte only, and I mean, it's going to create lots of problems for our community.
Okay, we're going to hold on a second. Councillor Reid had a question.
No, I think these are really good, valid questions, and before it comes up to the development permit stage, if it comes, I would like to make sure these items are recorded and that they're brought before committee when it comes, and that's all I wanted to say.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And what she's describing is the process. We're here only about the type of building that might be on the site, not about the actual design. And Mr. Dhaliwal answered a question about what the current proposal is for that driveway, which is related to the development permit. It's a different process. But we do want to record these issues because we want to satisfy ourselves that they've been dealt with as well.
Okay. I have no further questions.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Mojjan Shea. Same building, unit 1606. Ms. Shea.
Hello, everybody. My name is Mojgan Shea. I'm the resident of Altamont at 1606. I do have about the same concerns, especially that driveway is right now we have garbage days, we have moving days, and sometimes all of them they come at the same time, and we already have sometimes problem, and also for the safety, like getting out of that driveway to Glen Drive, turning left, which is not supposed to turn left, but everybody turns left there. They're going to be more than twice volume, and it's going to be dangerous for everybody. At least it has to be more kind of visible, probably wider, and maybe adding some lanes for turn left so people know what they're doing, because this is a big concern for the safety of everybody in that area. And also, the commercial is going to have tons of traffic. Most of them, if they don't find parking, they're going to come to our visitor parking or something like, they're going to use that. So this is a big, very, very big concern for all the residents right now. So we need that one to get widened. Also, we are responsible for the maintenance of that driveway right now. They have to share with us. We want to make sure that it's not, we are already taking care of the pavilion, which belongs to the city, because they are using the same driveway, and we are paying the strata fee for that, and we don't want to pay for that one as well. So we want, our interest to be considered.
Okay, the chair of our land use committee actually has a lot of experience with the strata, issue of strata and home ownership in a building like that.
Well,
so, Councillor Reid.
I think in our presentations, when we should be doing a little bit more, and maybe we could answer some of the residents' concerns before they have to get up and express them. I'd specifically like staff at this time to address the commercial situation and the commercial parking, if you would.
Yes, Your Worship, just commentary on the parking and the driveway relative to the commercial. This project does have multiple access points, and there is an access off of Pine Tree to accommodate the commercial and retail traffic, and that was intended to try and split the traffic and not pile all the traffic onto Glen Pine. There's a design for Glen at this location that has been designed through work also on the site to the north, the Cressy. So there's been some channelization design that's been done, and engineering is working closely with planning and the developers to try and get an access property there. We will be looking at these issues in detail raised by the speakers with engineering. The access to date shows a right in, right out, and a left in into the site from Glen, but no left out. You are very correct. And there's ultimately some channeling that will occur there, but we'll go back to talk to engineering about the volumes here relative to the number of properties accessed through Glen Pine, and including the issues about when there's moving and garbage pickup. We have discussed some of this with the developer already, but the design is not fully completed.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much for coming forward. Giti Nase. And I'll repeat that for the microphone. Iti says she concurs with them. They've said everything. The next one is Fatima Zakiri. Not here. Okay. That's the 4 people that are registered to speak. We thank them for coming. Are there any other speakers of this item? Second time. Are there any other speakers? Please come forward. You'll be next. You'll be next. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you. My name is David Williams. I'm Vice President of Development of Boza Properties, in charge of this project. Mayor and Council, staff. I just want to assure everyone that we've been working closely with staff over the last 2 years, and we will continue to work with them to address some of these issues. This is the last tower of a 4-tower project, and separation between the towers is about the same. There's adequate privacy between the towers. The traffic issue is an issue that has been dealt with for a few months now. We are continuing to work with staff on ensuring that the site is adequately serviced from a vehicular standpoint, both for residents, commercial, delivery, and other commercial needs. And we will continue to work with staff so that we have a viable solution, because it's important to us that this tower function properly. It's important to us that the previous towers function properly. We do not wish to create a problem for the community by adding more problems to the situation. So all these traffic issues are critical, and we will be addressing them. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. Are there any other speakers to this item? Please come forward.
Not very well. I need somebody translate. Okay, I live here almost 3 years. But this 3 years...
And you need to give me your name and your address. No trouble, no trouble, no worry.
My name is Fang Pingyao. I live at Mount 2301. Yeah. I live here almost 3 years. But these 3 years, I just close my window and the balcony the door, because if I open this door, very noisy building. It's 3 years. I can't sleep and make my heart very, very dangerous. Okay. This is the second. And I live here uncomfortable. Yes, just I don't want to build another building to make me sad. 怎么说呢？就是说我不想再有这样的打扰。
I don't want to be bothered anymore.
Yeah, and you think everybody have family. If you live area 4 years have some building, every day noisy. How do you think? So this is why I want to say something. I don't want to build a building so near, so close here. Example is crazy company, this new company. This building inside is so crowded. So, and the window to window, this building the window and this building window, so close. And can see each other. I think this is not good for the every family. And I think this uncomfortable place. So every family think about that. You leave the area, it's for like this. How do you think? Thank you. Just this. Okay.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Are there any other speakers to this item? Any other speakers to this item? The final time. Are there any other speakers to this item? Very good. Thank you very much for coming. I'm going to ask, I see Councillor McDonnell has a couple of questions.
Thank you. And this is through to staff. I asked this question at the committee. The retail is what I'm interested in on the bottom, and it says that the proponent and staff are going to actively go out and choose viable occupants. What does viable mean? Is that more hairdressers, or is that more? What are we talking about here?
Well, they could be viable. Mr. Galloway.
Your Worship, we did have further discussions with the developer. They have agreed that a retail unit at the corner of Pine Tree and Glen should be a vibrant business, and they are looking at a food and beverage business with outdoor seating, as well as additionally, quite possibly an institution such as a bank or finance institution. They are very well aware of our concern around, no disrespect to hairdressing, but the amount of those type of businesses, and they are quite open to looking at a viable alternative business that is an active one at that location.
Thank you. Good. Any other questions from council members? Okay, Councillor Nicholson.
Thank you. For staff or for the proponent, in the marketing of the previous 3 towers, as I understand it, was the entire concept part of what was on display, or was it sort of stepped? Did the marketing proceed and the disclosure of the whole site plan move tower by tower, or was there some expression of the ultimate development concept as the earlier developments moved forward?
Were there always 4 towers? Does the applicant have an answer for that, or does staff know the answer? Please go ahead and come right up.
You'll have to excuse me, I'm only been with the company a year, but it's my understanding that the project was always a 4-tower project. As to the disclosure and the positioning and existence of the 4th tower, I can't answer that question. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
No.
That's a good answer.
I can't answer is a valid answer sometimes. Okay, anybody else? Any other questions? Seeing none, final time. Thank you very much. I declare this item closed, and
That concludes the items on the public hearing agenda.
okay, and I'll declare the public hearing adjourned. We'll convene a council meeting in a couple of minutes. Staff have to change tapes. Okay, we'll get going. I call to order a regularly scheduled meeting of council following a public hearing. Ms. Lohr.